Hi, it's Dr. Manny from Break the Cage MD. This is my Saturday morning, not still wearing the pajamas, haven't brushed the teeth. It's that early morning, Saturday morning, Break the Cage MD flow. Okay, so usually our Saturday routine before Imani got here was MJ and I would sit around in pajamas until right before mommy came back home. So, welcome to the crew. So, I was thinking through some of the concepts of how the narratives fit inside our brains, and I believe that your concepts should be simple enough that instead of forcing them on yourself, what you're doing is you're rediscovering some of the structures that exist in your unconscious, and they should fit that effectively. So I have my four horsemen concept, and MJ and I were discussing. He brought up that in math they were only learning the x and y axis, and he asked, "Why don't you learn the z axis?" And so that got me thinking that I'd initially been representing my horsemen and thinking about north, south, east, and west as like they taught us in school on the board. North was up, south was down. So I was placing my four horsemen in that way, and I was initially going to put my perfectionist horseman north. Like your true north, pulling you towards perfection. But then I realized it didn't work well. It didn't fit in the head well. So in the new model, or the more comfortable version of the model, you have your four horsemen. Um, if you put north in front of you, then you're going to put your worrier in front because we imagine traveling in time, which is the fourth dimension, is moving forward. You don't like that? Hmm? All right, pacifier call. You want a passy? There you go. No? Okay. So you might get two horsemen this time around, maybe. So the in front of you, you have your worrier. So because your worrier pulls your mind out of the present into the future and creates some anxiety because you worry about finishing your tasks. And later on, I'll record a model. I'll explain the model of creating goals with all four dimensions. Um, don't you choke and die. Okay, so behind you, you have your critic. Your critic keeps you stuck in the past because your critic always points out your mistakes and creates sort of an avoid response because you almost you don't want to finish because you're not your critic always gives you that negative feedback that keeps you from moving forward on your projects, sort of keeps you from becoming your future you. Um, that's your south, and I put south behind you in your past as if you were walking toward your true north. I love that metaphor. And so the next thing I explained to MJ was that on your right you have your perfectionist. Your perfectionist wants to always be right, and the fourth horseman is your victim horseman. And I was like, okay, we'll put the victim to the left. Um, and so he helped put that into clear context because he's like, well, doesn't a victim always feel left out? And so I'm probably going to have to pay him some royalties on that at some point. But that works perfectly. So to your north, in front of you is your worrier pulling you forward in time. Behind you is the critic keeping you stuck in your past self. To your right is your perfectionist wanting to always be right. Um, and right is east, but I think I'll use right because it's easier to remember. And to your left, you have your victim who always feels sort of left out um, of benefits and whatever providence and abundance. All right, easy peasy. Break the cage, MD.